All right. So at this stage, I could already start to mesh everything into one mesh. Do I want to do that now? I could actually change the neck shape here so that it actually is more printable. But like I'm kind of like gonna do it the lazy way, and I just want to print the head and to see the head. I don't care about like if like the head is going to be posed on something like a podium, or like maybe I could do that. It's not really. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that, but it's going to be like a really like simple thing. How long have you been working on this asset? A long time. Long, 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 long time. It's hard to say. Like, I work on so many models at the same time, so each time somebody asks me this question, I'm always like, man, I don't know. Like, my magic answer is that, like, characters usually take me like 1 to 2 weeks for the high res, but some characters are also like pretty complex and can take me like much more than that. So let's just work on the silhouette of that thing. And then I'm going to pretty much take the outer portion, inner portion, I mean. There we go. Now let's grab let's go into orthographic view, making sure everything is straight. Like I said, not a very inspired base, but just something for it to hold. It's mainly to have it on my shelf and be able to look at it, not necessarily trying to create like some art piece with that yet, at least. Yet. Just want to have something simple. There we go. Yes, I'm going to 3D print this into a. It's just a prototype. I just want to see how it looks when it's printed. It's not really like a serious print or anything, but at least I will go through the steps to print the character. And people have been asking me to do a stream about that. So here I am at your beck and calls. All right. Hey, Marco. Hey there. Hey, Carpe Diem. Hey there. Super glad you've been streaming. This is an incredible, inspiring series to watch. Hey, thanks for the comment. I appreciate that. All right. So yeah. So at this step, am I going to start merging everything together now? I could. Normally I would try to see if there's not like some like empty spaces and stuff, but like I think I pretty much like hunt them all down, and in my next stage I'm going to be able to see even more like those things. Maybe one thing I'm going to do is to make production a little bit easier. I think I'm going to get rid of like maybe the back face here. I just used my poly groups to kind of like mask. There we go. So now I kind of like got rid of the cavity over here. Could do the same with this one here, but I think I might keep this one. All right, let's. Yep. So some people would think that like I need to Dynamesh to be able to merge everything together. I like to Decimate and Boolean things instead. And this is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to simply go and merge. First of all, save in case it crashes. And merge everything together. Actually, let's just do a merge visible. All right, now we have this thing here. How many million polys is that? 24 million polys. Is that too much? See, it's probably going to be just like take such a long time to decimate that like I could maybe go down some subdivision level. Like you see, the difference between like full level and like one level under is printed at this size. It's not going to be really like something that's what we'll see. So yeah, maybe I'll go around a few pieces and like lower the subdivision of each. And this is really just to make sure that my decimation works just a little bit faster. So maybe just the major pieces, the one that really makes a difference in terms of like speed and whatnot. This one loses. Sometimes if it loses like too much resolution, maybe I won't do it. Oops, no, this one already was a subdivision lower. Okay, you know what? I think that's probably going to be enough. So merge visible again. Let's see how many polys it makes. We're now at, you see, 8 million polys. I lowered drastically, and this resolution will be good enough for printing. Oh, at least, actually, you know what? There's one part. Maybe this here, it might be a little bit too low. So let's just go back here, augment this one, merge visible again. We're virtually at the same amount, and everything looks like it has enough resolution, so we're good. Next step is going to be to decimate. Pre-process. There we go. Random question. What do you think of Lego not crediting Might Nash with the recent Lego Horizon Zero Dawn set? I feel like they should have brought him up at least once in the manual since he recently passed away and he has a pivotal part of the aesthetic of the world. I don't really know what to think about that. I don't fully understand credits and that sort of stuff. I see how it would be nice that he's credited, because indeed he had a pivotal role. I mean, it's the whole style like breeds Mike Nash. Plus, he was like just a extremely talented artist that is dearly missed for sure. Um, I don't I don't know. I don't know. I think yes. I think it would have been nice that he's credited. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you see 40% decimation right there. It's it can take a little while to do those decimation and stuff, but at least if you kind of like lower the subdivisions to something that is needed or not. Yeah. Perfect time to drink. Yeah, exactly. The Mike Nash. Yeah, that's a super sad one. That he's gone for sure. Was a It was a good, great source of inspiration. So yeah, like I said, he's going to be missed. Like at this point, he would have probably come out with like a few other great pieces again. So this is going to be the biggest piece to Dynamesh, Dynamesh to Decimate, sorry. So you'll see it's not really take long, and we'll be pretty much done with like the super boring part after that. Come on, 95. Sometimes decimation have the tendency of like not crashing at the end, but just like not being able to complete the process. If that happens, and normally I do a fixed mesh, but it can really be a pain for sure. Will you hollow out a complex mesh like that? This is in preparation for printing. Well, it depends how big I'm going to print. I mean, because you need like a shell, you can't hollow too much, and sometimes the hollowing just saves like a few millimeters, but it can create harder prints, especially if you print on an SLA. So yeah, if it's not going to save a lot, I'm just going to print like with a full head. Uh, like for example, like um, this is it's going to be hard to see now. I don't know if it's focusing, but it's the head of the beetle character. Oh, there you go. Now it's focusing. And like this doesn't have any like hollowing or anything. It's just like a full mesh. Because it would not have saved like a lot. So, and it's probably going to be the same thing for this guy. Anyways, so now it's time to decimate. The pre-process is done, so let's decimate at like, let's say 5%. You see, you can't even tell at this distance that it was decimated. How much million poly do we have? 800,000. See, that's well, not polys. Like those are well, they say poly, but like sometimes ZBrush is a bit off with that. But this should be fine. I don't think that I need to. Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to. After I'm done bullying, doing the boolean, it's going to be even lower than that. So that will be fine. Let me clip curve that so it's flat, flat. Or actually, you know what? No, never mind. All right. Cool. Let's integrate that into my scene here. Delete Boom, all right. So I'm pretty much going to do the same for everything else. So let's attach. This is going to be separated into its own mesh. Let's let's pre-process and sorry. Sorry about that. This could be decimated even lower. There we go. Let's, oops. Oh, part of the mesh is hidden. Oh yeah, there was a strand that was missing. Okay. Okay, let's merge everything into this mesh here. Let's do another pre-process. Hey, can you tell how many pieces this project will have for, like, the Horseman? Oh, like the series in total? There's 3 Archangels. Well, the three main Archangels. There's like a 4th one that was like added later in season 4 of the Bible, and Uriel. But yeah, there's 3 main ones actually. Hey, focus camera. All right, little problem focusing the camera. There you go. Thank you, camera. Cool, thank you. Are you using Formlabs? Yep, I have a Form too. Oh, wait, this is one mesh now. Not yet, it's just decimated. And I don't forget to save. Pistol Pete qui me souhaite à mes souhaits. T'es ben blood. Alright. So decimated as well, and this one last piece here will also need to be decimated. I'm going to put this one at 1% because the resolution is still pretty high. See, it's pretty good. All right, so now I have all my meshes. Those are going to be the 4 different meshes that I'm going to print. Well, these are going to be 2 separate, whatever. All right, so now it's time to merge them together. I decimated them. Next is merging. You know what I realized? If I print this, it's going to fall like on its back like this because of the hair, because of the weight. Well, you know what? Maybe not, because it's like the resin I use is pretty light, but in terms of like production, normally it would. So what I will do is I will just do a little extension. Once again, super cheap. I just need it to be there. So I'm going to create like not a counterweight, but just adding to the stand so it actually stands the weight. See, with that, I think it's going to be enough. It's in the center of this mesh. This mesh will not be heavier than this mesh. Could even be shorter. I'm pretty certain with like, if you account for gravity, it's going to be okay. And it can even be like super slim. But maybe not too slim, because you don't want it to kind of like bend during the print either. And the slimmer you have something, the more chances you have for it to bend. So you know what? Just like this, I think it's going to be fine. And this is going to be part of this mesh here. There you go. All right. So to I make everything one mesh. Like for example, if I take this one here is still not one mesh. If you look here, it's not really connected. It's still different meshes like this, you see? But if you boolean it, it's going to become all in one mesh. So let's save, because those are all things that, like, I'm always paranoid it's going to crash. So first you need to go into render boolean, click on live boolean. I have a shortcut right here, and I'm going to do it one at a time. ZBrush is better when you do it one at a time. So you got this here. I want to boolean this, but I can only boolean two meshes. So I'm actually going to add, because this is kind of like a little turnaround. I'm just going to add like whatever random IMM, hide it inside of the mesh, and then I'm going to hide it, like in masking. You have no, not in masking, in visibility. There we go. Hide part. Boom. Because it was still masked. So when you click hide part, now it's hidden. And then you have split hidden in geometry, modify. See, split hidden is somewhere here. I have it on a shortcut, that's why I never remember where it is. Oh no, split hidden is here. Split hidden, there we go. All right. So now I have this mesh, the one that I hid, and this mesh. So I got two meshes. So now the option boolean is active. So I'm going to click make boolean. It took a second, and now this is all connected. So if I do a auto merge, not auto merge, but polygroup, auto group, you see it's all the same color. So it acknowledges that there's no more different meshes. What you can do is you can control shift click on your mesh and then invert, and you see there was actually some like leftover meshes. Yeah. So I can delete it. But you see, I know that there's going to be like a problem. I kind of like saw it right there. And if you hide what's visible, so do you see that there's actually like some, that's what I call it, a cavern. It's not necessarily like the right term, but it's like an empty space inside of the mesh that you don't want to have. So what I'm going to do to get rid of that is I could go back before I booleaned it, but I'll just try to fix it by hand. So I'll kind of like mask this part of the mesh, and by using move with backface, I'm going to try to just drag the mesh inside. And kind of like fill the hole. I could have also go back and do it while they were separate meshes, for sure. But kind of like confident that I can have somewhat of a decent result, just like this. So I will repeat the same thing, just adding like a little mesh like this. Hide, split hidden. Now I have two meshes here. The one I just added, simply to have two enable in order to activate this button here. And when I click on it, it creates a new mesh. This one here. I do auto groups. Control click on the mesh, invert mask. You see it got rid of like all of this. Invert again, delete hidden, and now it deleted all of the stuff in the middle here. Let's just see inside. There's still a little bit here. And on the other side, you see the other side is pretty much full. So this is not going to cause problems. This one might actually cause a bit of problem. And what you can do also is you can just like inflate. So it's kind of like it inflates it on itself. and it will actually block the hole. So that's another little trick here. So one last time for posterity. Oop, there we go. And then make Boolean. Oops, it didn't do it. Oh, I was in solo mode by accident. Make Boolean. It says that it had a problem. I'm pretty sure it did not have a problem. Auto group, invert. There you go. It got rid of that little part here. So cool. So this mesh is pretty much ready to print now. All right. So let's add it to the to my file. Let's delete everything that we don't need anymore. There you go. So that's before Boolean. That's before Boolean. That's after Boolean. Delete it. Delete it. We're good. This one is not going to need any of that because it's one unique mesh, and those ones are not going to need that either. So I'm just left with doing this guy here. Oh, I kind of like didn't realize that I pretty much destroyed this here. Huh. Hmm. I could recover the file and, or since I'm going to Boolean it, you know what? Let's just duplicate this and see how much I can go in the past. Oh, I can't because I did it on another file. Oh, and I just deleted it. That sucks. All right, you know what? Let's save this, or actually no, let's open a file before I save on top of it. At what stage was I? Nah, I already did the mistake. Okay. Let's do it somewhat cleanly. Let's save this. Let's reopen my original file. All right, open. All right. Will you let the nickel contact here? I forget. Damn, this was educational. Well, my pleasure. I mean, just right now, so it's very useful stuff. Cool. Maybe you can project that part. Now I'll simply go grab the original and boolean it together. That panic feeling. Yeah, I know what you mean. You lost 1 hour of work and the deadline is end of the day. Yeah. I remember one time I lost like 3 hours of work just because I was always canceling the save and that sucked. I'll drink to that. All right, so I'm just gonna grab this mesh here, delete everything that is not this mesh. Insert it into my file right here. And I'm just going to mask the part that I kind of like destroyed by accident. Right there. I'm gonna delete everything else. So both mesh together, they make it whole again. So let's actually, you know what? Let's just make sure to drag this a little bit inside here. Let's decimate it as well. All right, and let's merge down. There we go. So now we have it again. It's all fucked up, but after I'm done with the Boolean, it should be all fine. So now I need to actually have two meshes once again. And I'll simply, this time instead of using the IMM trick I showed you, I'm simply going to split a part of the mesh that I know is already disconnected. And those two visible here. Now let's do make Boolean. So this one is going to take a little bit more time. Not that much more. There we go. Already done. Let's delete this. And this is the Boolean mesh. So if I do auto group again, now it takes a little while because there might be like a lot of like small pieces floating around. So the calculation of the auto group might take a bit of time, especially where I kind of like tried to merge two meshes that were like basically like floating one on each other. But once we'll be done with that auto group, we won't need to do it again. Okay, there's a weird thing here. Ooh, what is this? That sucks balls. Oh, and there's even something here. All right, so what's happening here is I think there's like a close hole that's happening that that is not cool. So let me go and do like a close hole myself before. Interesting. The close hole is not giving me the issue that I saw before. Let's do a mirror and weld. Intriguing. Intriguing. Let's try again. Make Boolean mesh. Hey, thanks for the follow. The dynametric projection will still give me, it will blur some of the detail. I don't like using it. Will also close some of the detail. Plus the Dynamesh has a limit of million polygons, and sometimes it can't even reach the resolution that you need, so I prefer not using it. Alright, back to this. Okay, so you see it kind of like, it still has like this thing here that's happening. What if I push it in? It's weird, eh? Well, you know what? I'm not sure if it's really going to bother me. I mean, really the problem comes from the fact that I'm trying to splice like a mesh on top of another mesh that's the same, like they're floating on the same area, so it's probably like, it fucks them up, but anyways, so you see by doing an auto group, this is all the mesh that were like floating inside that were like might have caused a problem. So I'm just gonna delete them. I'm gonna do a close hole and see it kind of like gives that. If I do an auto group, okay, so now it's the same color. So you see like by doing an auto group, if I try to select by polygroup, I see that there's only one polygroup because, yep. All right, and now let's look inside. So you see there's quite a few like empty, like you shouldn't really be seeing any mesh. You see, like the fact that I can see the underside of this is a problem because it means that there's like a cavern somewhere and I don't want to be printing like this, right? So I kind of like need to get rid of this. And how I will do is, okay, well, first of all, I'll split, instead of splitting by half, I'll split this half like this. And I'll go with my move brush with the back face. I'll go in symmetry since I can use it. And you see like here it's like visible, the cavity, so I can simply like with move and back face, I can simply go and hide it. Now the other one, like where does it start? Like I'm guessing that it's like here, there might be like a hole, so let's like try to move things down. So sometimes like you're going to be dragging your detail down a bit, but see, like it's not really like destroying the design that much. That might be enough to fix my problem. At least like for this portion here. For this portion here as well. This here also might be better if I do this. And for here, like I already know, like this here is appearing because it's the actual overhang from this detail. And I kind of like decided to not like to keep it, so I'll stick by my decision. This here is pretty deep. I can probably make it less like a little bit more shallow. And okay, now we're close to the border. So let's open a hole here. So you see in like this tube, we can see the back side of it. So it will also need to be dragged like this. So sometimes by dragging it like this, you're kind of like flattening it a bit, but just to make sure that like in terms of like production, it prints well. It's a necessary evil, not that much. It's not really a big evil either. So yeah. Don't forget to use AccuCurve sometimes. It helps for the move brush to move more in a like a pinching manner. The radius of your brush is also very important. You don't want to drag all the details out. Ooh, okay. And what you're really doing with the mesh, with the back face, is you're really just like dragging. You're dragging like one side of the move brush at a time, and you're dragging it in the direction that's going to make sure that the mesh, like you make the mesh intersect each other. And that's really what helps with all of that. So let's go and look inside of the mesh. So you see here, there's like a lot of like, and I think it's all coming from here actually. So yeah, I accounted for this here. Now there's the clips here. Yeah, the clips are kind of like floaty a bit, so this I'm going to kind of like, I'm gonna have to make them like thicker and probably get rid of all the overhang. It's not really necessary. There we go. Getting rid of all the negative space. Well, it's not really negative space, but the hollow space, hollow parts. So if I look inside my mesh, I can see them more clearly. Like here, you see like this entire piece has like some things to, some hollowing to get rid of. And let's say I'm going to want to at least have like this portion not touched. Like here, if I do this, I kind of like destroy my detail. So if I actually go and do the opposite, I don't lose my primitive shape. Now I can mask around here. Oops. And continue doing that. I'm very selective in the angle of the viewport while using the move brush, just to make sure it kind of like drags the mesh in the right angle as well. Here I'm probably going to do in half and half. I'm not sure how meticulous engineers are before printing, but yeah. Here it feels like there's still like oh, that looks good. Still some here. All right, we're almost, I feel like we're probably almost done with hunting down those like possibly hollow parts. Another little trick. Sometimes I work on one part. If I know that my model is completely symmetrical, sometimes I'll work on one side and simply do a mirror and weld. All right, let's do that. You see, I'll merge the left on the right side. All right. Okay, so now that this is done, to make sure that like it's all done well, I'm going to first of all bring this back in my scene here. I can do a little like before and after. So you see, it kind of like filled some of the holes, but I did not destroy my design. Some parts are a bit thicker, but essentially, see, same. But now, if I do a boolean, it's probably going to look like much better. So let's delete this. Let's keep this guy here. I could save in different iterations as well to be a little bit more careful. But anyways. All right, so IMM, because there is nothing I can really like divide. Oop, there we go. Hide, split hidden. I have two meshes. Now let's boolean. Oops, I was in solo mode. It's not going to work. Let's boolean. Which is... I'll just boolean again. I don't remember which one is the... Make boolean. There you go. All right, so now auto group. Hey, thanks for the follow. Auto group. Now Control Shift click and invert, and you see those is all the this is all the like hollow pieces that I got rid of. So I will hide and split hidden. So now if I actually look inside, it should be much better than before. All right, so overhang. Like, no, this is fine. This piece here. Well, yeah, no, this actually might actually be a little bit hard to print. Let's get rid of that. Here. Get rid of that in an angle. Yeah, there we go. So I gave it kind of like a beveled angle. All right. There's still some crap here. Yeah, there we go. Actually, you know what? That line here is so thin. I'm just going to get rid of it. This is fine. This isn't the overhang. Oh, there's still some here. All right. This piece here. Yeah, this is also something I'm going to preferably want to get rid of. Just dragging the mesh inside. I think this here is fine. Maybe. Yeah, I could close it even more. This is starting to be a little bit like nitpicky, I think. Like, I think it's still going to print well even for that. And the rest is already good, except for here. There's like a little thing. Okay. All right. Mirror and weld. I'll do a boolean of this. I actually won't put it into my file right away. I'll just straight ahead boolean it. So it's the subtool with just one, the Z tool with just one, auto group. See, I got rid of all of that. Now let's see. There's still some. So the more complex your mesh is, the more this step can be tedious, for sure. It's but you know, it's pretty important. You want your thing to print well, for sure. And especially if you don't have, you're not rich and you don't have infinite resin, kind of good to not have too much tests to do. we're getting the right result. See, I think those really were just two little artifacts left. I think the rest is from what I can. You can be extra safe in some areas. You know what? I'd be willing to say that this will be enough. So one last Boolean. Make Boolean. Auto group. Control Shift click. Invert. Those are the cavern it got rid of. I'll quickly confirm that I'm good. I will ask you to let me be picky one last time. I just saw something. You see, for the rest, it's pretty good. There's like little artifacts here. Those I think that it would not even be accounted when printing, but might as well do something about it now. See, there's a lot of people messaging as well. I'm going to be reading the messages very soon. The last Boolean. All right. So now I won't even check. I'm pretty sure it's good. What I'll do to kind of like clean up possibly like artifacts and stuff, I'm going to do a another decimation of this here, but I'm going to decimate at like 98%, like very high. I just wanted to kind of like recalibrate its own mesh. Decimate current. See, what I was trying to do is get rid of like this like weird art mesh thing. Seems that 98 was not enough. Let's go to 90. Huh. Kind of like keeps it. It's weird. I will undo the decimations. I will actually smooth the mesh. Normally I don't need to do that because I don't really have to splice two meshes one on top of the other like last time. Preprocess current. Really? Dude, come on. Hey, you know what? Whatever. I don't think it's gonna matter anyway. Ooh, there's like a weird thing here. Huh. See, that doesn't really happen often. I'll just like use plan R and whoop, there we go. All right, and this mesh is also ready to print. So let's go to my master file, insert the new mesh, delete the old one, delete all the working files so I don't get mixed up. And there you go. Boom. So those are all my mesh ready to print. Almost ready to print. There's going to be another step before, but let's just see. Chat, processing, very interesting moments, like, okay, so you got a conversation happening here. Hola. Yeah, the XM sneak peek. Yeah, I was really happy to see that coming from the XM people working on the paint and everything. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm super happy to see that. Can't wait to be, because I saw much more than the teaser, right? So I can't wait to see more about the death, the four horsemen, and everything. It's coming along together. It's pretty nice. All right. So now that we have this, I could actually have this and throw it into the software to print and do the final step. But one thing that's going to be a problem if I print this is that things are not keyed. So I need to be able to key things together so that they actually connect one into the other. And so the next step is going to be keying everything. So what I will do is I will create the keys. So before I create, well, while I create the keys, there's two things that's going to be important. I'm going to have to make sure that like the mesh, they actually interconnect into each other. And for example, you see if I put the ponytail in negative, so this is how it would connect. But what I'm going to want to make sure is that the hole to put the ponytail in is just a tad bigger than the ponytail itself. So I'm going to start using like start groups like this. And so if I actually hide everything but the head, so this is like the head with the ponytail in negative. So the ponytail is like here, but I'm going to want to actually like just inflate it a little bit. So you can use like the inflate in deformation, or my little trick here of like using the transposed line and move and right clicking on the extremity here. Thanks for the follow. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. That might be a bit too much. I can even like create a layer, inflate it, and then use the slider here to kind of like there we go. Something I could have done also just to make things a bit cleaner is kind of like make the ponytail just a bit more flat at the tip here. It's just going to make for like a cleaner thing. So duplicate it, bring it here in negative, and repeat the layer, inflate a bit so that the hole is bigger than the object itself. But not by a lot, just like a tiny, tiny bit. There you go. Boom, like this. And now the next thing I'm going to want to have is the key itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the ponytail mesh and actually add like a cylinder. And this time keep it. This is probably going to be enough to key it in, but I can actually also make it like a little bit larger like this. Some people also prefer to actually use like squares. It just like gives it more like of a, it's easier to key in. There we go. And I'm going to separate this into a different mesh. Different subtool. I'm going to keep it in positive. I'm going to duplicate it. Oops, I didn't duplicate the right one. I'm going to duplicate this square, bring it into the group for the Boolean group, but in negative, and I will also inflate it a little bit, like I did with the ponytail. There we go. So now I have my object with the key in like this. It's going to be a pretty small key. But yeah, there we go. So I got my ponytail that's inflated. I got the cube that's inflated as well. So like the hole is there, and plus this is the original ponytail with the positive key. And like I said, the hole is the one that is inflated. So this is what will fit pretty well inside. Thanks for the follow, by the way. So now I just need to repeat the same thing for the other meshes. So this one here, I just need to have like a key. This one is going to be a very thin key. It's like maybe I should have changed the design and like make this like not so hollowed, because like the key is going to be pretty feeble. Probably not the best production choice. If I was to do that more professionally, I probably would have revised it with like a professional. But or I could actually like add like the key here to kind of like pincer it on the head. To sum it up, you want the hole to be a bit wider than the key. Yep, exactly. No, the hole needs to be a bit wider than the key, so that like it actually fits. Otherwise, it's just physically won't. And if you actually use like an object, you boolean it, and you don't inflate the hole, it'll sometimes make it like harder to like jam it in, and you might actually break the key. So yeah, you have to be careful. So yeah, I could like add the key here to go inside with this one, because I don't think that like adding, like this is going to be much too small if I add a key inside that goes in here. Magnets could be cool as well, but I'm not going to add magnets. So I guess that what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like, oops, I thought I was on my IMM thing. I'm going to add the key like this. And I'm kind of like going to have it like, kind of like clamp it, because the material is like flexible enough to kind of like open to be able to clamp. So I think I'm going to do it like this. It's not super pleasing when you look at it from the top like this here, though. But yeah, I should have changed the design instead. But hey, you know what? Fuck it. It's going to be fine like this. All right. So split that. Keep that as positive for here. Duplicate this. Put it on the head in negative with a little inflate. There we go. So that should fit actually well. Boom. And There we go. I think I'm gonna hollow this head, even if it's not necessary, just to show like the process of like hollowing as well. And for these guys here, I'm going to do same old, but you see like the connection point is like the cylinder here, so there's already like something I can aim for. Let's add the mesh on this one here. And those are pretty small keys, because the head is not going to be that big when it's going to be printed. I'm going to make this one a little bit deeper. There we go. Okay, I might have exaggerated this. I think that's going to be fine. A little bit less even. And I wonder if actually, you know what? Just to be safe, I'm also going to add the mesh themselves. I'm going to duplicate them and add it in negative on the main head. So for this one and also this one. I'm going to get rid of the detail at the back of this mesh because it's kind of like interfering with the keys right now. There we go. There's still like the cavity line here though. Let's get rid of that as well. It's kind of like interfering with the other side. I'm going to ask back face mask. And a little smooth, or actually, no, not smooth. H polish. Maybe a little smooth after all. Okay, did not destroy the details on the other side, so that's good. And then duplicate, negative, come here. Boom, there we go, now it's clean. So, like I said, each mesh are actually used negatively on the master mesh so that like the mesh itself deletes itself from the head. And on top of that, each keys that go on each mesh that's going to go in the head also exist negatively on the head mesh and are inflated. So this will be the all the keying and such. That being said, the boolean needs to be done. Another boolean, the hollowing needs to be done. Well, before the keying, after the keying, depends. I kind of like sometimes do it like one or after the other, you know? You might not have to redesign the piece. It looks like it's thicker at the bottom part. Sorry, I'm not sure which bottom part we're talking about. Was very optimized to execute this project when I had a GTX. Okay. All right. Good. So, hollowing now. Hollowing. It's so useless to hollow this piece. I'll still show it anyway. So I'll create the hollowing piece before doing all the boolean and everything. We'll start 20. Hello, and thanks for the follow as well. All right. So to hollow the piece, what do we do? First, I'd like to thank Paul Gabbery from ZBrush that showed me the trick. And here's the trick. So I'm going to clone the head piece in a different subtool. I am going to Dynamesh it. Okay, this is much too small. This a bit too small. This should be fine. Yes, okay. And there's actually an option called shell that I'm going to use to create the shell itself. Now the thing is, I have to calculate what's the size of the head because I have to calculate like how much hollowing I want. By the way, I know it's like I use two software to print. I use Preform from FarmLab, but I also use sometimes Cheeto Box, which has the hollowing function inside already. So hollowing can be done this way. But I'm going to be yeah, I think I'm just going to do it manually just to show you that it's doable. So now I have to calculate like how thick it is. And for that I have to calculate everything. And that's going to be a pain in the ass. I know I wanted 3 millimeters. I just need to know like how big the head would be. So one thing that I did not do at the beginning of this video is actually have all the right scales from the get-go. That's technically something you would need to do. I didn't do it because I knew I was not going to hollow this piece. But like, if I would have wanted to do it like really well, I would hollow the I would just like scale first, right? And now I'm going to pretty much have to kind of like guess the hollowing because ZBrush doesn't come with like measures and stuff. Anyways, let's check it out. Okay, so my little guy here, I'm gonna print the head like around maybe the same size as this. No, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to print it the same size as this guy here. Oh, this guy has hollowing. So this is actually like the prototype of Death from the Four Horsemen. Yeah. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. All right. Get the proper scale. I'm going to import an STL. So Z plugin 3D import STL file. Let's go in the Harbingers, the Four Horsemen. Print test. Haha, there we go. Okay, so death, print. Or actually, do I have war? Yes, I have war right here. Huh, what was the size of him? Okay, let's open two STLs. Let's open death, no, war. So you see that was the STL for the head. It's just the head alone. And let's open another one. Insert, oops. Import STL. Death, print, new, proposed side, agreed side. All right. So probably the scale is like times 10 on this one here. That's the difference between those two here. And you can see like I actually did some hollowing. You see, that's kind of like the hollowing I was going to choose for him, so that's pretty good. So I'm actually going to aim for like this thickness here. You could actually calculate the thickness by drawing your transpose line like this. And if you did scale your model accordingly, because you see like the transpose line is like 3.2 units. And I know that like when I scaled the head of death here, I scaled it using millimeters. Like for example, if you use a transpose line and you put it up to here, you see 51 units. That's 51 millimeters, which is exactly this here that I printed. So 51 millimeters, 5 centimeters, like that's 5 centimeters high. And yeah, so like I knew that my unit measurement here was millimeters, because it just says unit, but whatever, it's millimeters. So I knew that I wanted around 3 millimeters of hollowing, and when you calculate here, you see 3.3 units, 3.3 millimeters of thickness. And this is basically the exercise I was trying to do, but like I said, because I didn't really scale my character first, it's kind of like hard to say. If I would want to actually like have the head be the same size, like I could transpose master all my project here to the size of Death's head and get like the proper the same thickness, but I'll kind of like go the other way around just because I want to get the hollowing done correctly, and then later I'll scale the head to the correct size, which is kind of like the other way around. It would need to be, like I said, normally scale your things first. That's the one thing that is better to do. Anyways, when you're working in the industry, you'll have to kind of like scale the character from the get-go. It's kind of like best practice. There's always a way to fix it afterwards, so no worries about that. No? Anyways, let's grab Death and just insert him here as like a reference for the hollowing. See how big it is? Unify. Boom, there we go. Now it fits. And let's just put both of them at a somewhat of a same head size. Death is smaller than a normal human. Well, the head size is not going to change that much. I guess the body is smaller. And the helmets of the Archangels, they actually fit pretty tight. It's not a very thick helmet. His mouth's open as well, so and it needs to be a bit smaller. Oops, not too small. So that's kind of like what it would be. Maybe it's a bit too big, a bit too small, but that's approximately what it is. So now that I scaled it correctly, what I can do is I can go here and calculate what's the distance now. It's 0.02022. And this is pretty much like the shell. I'm going to look for this head as well then. Let's remove this. Now that I know that I have to aim for for 0.022 of shell. All right, now we're back to the shell. So in edge loop, no, Dynamesh. Yes, so you have create shell with thickness of 4. I don't know what's the thickness I need, but to be able to create the shell, the first thing that I need to do is add a negative boolean, which I have not been using so far. So you have like your booleans here. Like I'll just take the cylinder, and you have to use alt when you draw it. Now it's inside of the mesh, but if I move it out, you see, it's like a negative boolean. For this function, I need to do that. And you know it's negative because the poly group is white. And now you can unmask this, and you can click on create shell. And at 4, you see, it created the hollowing. Oops. It created the hollowing, but very, very thin. So that's 4. So I'll just undo, and I know that I'll probably need easily like 3 times that. So let's shell it at 12. And it gives this here. So now let's calculate how much this is. This is 0.15, so it's still not enough. So let's shell at 14. Oh, now my mesh is actually not deep enough. All right, let's try again. So now the shell is 0.018. It was still not enough. Let's put it at 17. Create shell. Read the comments. Look in Scale Master. I never checked there, so I don't know. Right. Is the hollowing for 3D printing? Yep. Okay, so now the hollowing is at, oh, we're good. So you see that it was 17. So now that I have this, you see it kind of like creates polygroups. So I'm actually going to just select this, do an auto group. So now the inside and the outside are not the same polygroup. So now I can click on the inside. I will delete hidden. I will actually flip. There we go. I will do a close hole because it's actually not closed. I will polish this and decimate it. But that's basically like that's the hollowing part. So reprocess current. Decimate at 12, let's say. That should be good enough. And now I can actually bring this in my file here, and I will add it. Negative. All right, so now we have the hollowing. The hollowing is inside here. So you see, I'm not like saving that much like resin, and it's gonna add a bit of trouble. So like I said, I'm showing it, but to be honest, I'm gonna be printing it without the hollowing. Or maybe I won't, maybe just for like complicate my life even more, I'll just print with the hollowing. Anyways, so now we need like a hole to reach the hollowing, of course, or otherwise, what's the purpose of hollowing if there's no connection with the outside? So I'll actually just use a cylinder. Oh, I was already on cylinder. There we go. So now I have the hollowing right there. Boom. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure those are all the meshes. All right. I'm going to make sure that with the angle I'm going to use to print, that I'm not going to get a cup. Now it's getting into like really technical territory. It will tell you the scale of the current subtool. Oh, well, I mean, I know what the scale is, I mean, like, I did not adjust the scale to the correct printable size. So by comparison, I don't really know like the shell measurement that I needed. I should have scaled things first. That's what I meant. Did you go to school to learn this stuff? No. I kind of, well, I mean, 3D, I went to school for 3D for a little bit, but I pretty much learned everything by myself. And with tutorials and whatnot. School industry is the best way to learn this stuff. Yeah. I can learn a lot from friends as well. Of course. All right. Okay. So. The angle I'm going to print at is going to be like probably like, well, I mean, you can ignore, I don't know why I made the ponytail and all the other details reappear. There we go. This is probably going to be the angle I'm going to print at, because like all the support are going to be coming from down here, right? So I don't want it to touch the face, really. And it's always good. Like if I do it like this, I'm going to save, by the way. If I'm going to actually print like this, there's going to be like an overlap with the chin here. So there's going to be supports needed on the chin. But if I actually have the chin on a slope like this, I might not actually really need supports to the chin here. So if I actually incline it like this, all the supports will be touching like the back of the head here and like here, which is the bottom of the print. So it's kind of good. It's still going to need some cleanup for all the supports that are going to be here, but at least I'm avoiding supports on the top of the face here, which is what we want. There's probably going to be overlap needed for those details here, but it's fine. I don't care. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cube that's just going to be like kind of like a measurement tester. Not a measurement, I should not say a measurement, but like an angle, print angle tester. So I'm going to make it a Q cube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the head kind of like in the angle I think I'm going to print. Like this feels like the angle yeah. And I'm going to, so this is just my viewport. That's a rotated, but I'm kind of like rotating the cube like if it was going to be straight. And I'm probably going to also incline the head like diagonally a bit. Just so it's not like a straight angle. So I'm going to rotate the cube as well to, there you go. All right. And now, why did I place that cube here? Because, oops, if I put it in negative, there you go. You can see actually how it's going to print my model. So now I said we're getting into pretty technical stuff. So you see, those are all the layers of print it's going to go through. And you see here, what we have, you see like this little thing that's called a cup. So basically it means that at this stage of printing, this little like part here will actually exist and might actually create like a suction cup. So I don't want to get too technical, but like let's say you have your UV bath, all right, and like your piece goes in the UV bath, the platform, and it actually like solidifies one layer and then it goes up. Well, let's say it solidifies a layer, but inside in between, you have like this empty space that exists right here. Well, it's going to create like a suction cup effect. So when it's gonna like pull up, it might actually like stay at the bottom, and the platform will go up, and the piece of resin that has the cup will stay down, and it will rip all the supports. So you will actually have like a failed print, and you don't want that. You don't want cups. That's for sure. That's like one of the most critical thing. So my goal here is to make sure that like there is like an access to the outside of the mesh before there's a cup. So what I will do is like this cylinder here. Actually, I will separate those into two different meshes. There we go. Oops. So my cylinder here, I'm going to want to make sure that it's that it actually is, that it touches the inside. I'm actually also going to make it bigger. There we go. Like this. Let's get back to the cube. So you see when the cup appears, there's already a hole that leads to the outside. So this will let the air flow, and it will actually make the cup not a cup. And you see, that's the reason why I don't like hollowing all the time. It's because if I don't save up in like millimeters, I actually like save up on trouble like this here. Okay, so you see here, like if I print at this angle, those are going to be like objects that are going to be floaters. So like the software will compensate by adding supports there for sure. There we go. And that's pretty much the only issue that like could have happened, like this support thing. So I will hide the cube because I'm not going to need it. And then, boom, we have all of our other meshes. So now, if I Boolean, if I Boolean everything, all the groups that I created, it's going to create the final mesh where like all the booleans are acknowledged in the mesh, and I can actually bring that to print. So let's do that. All right. So now yeah, it's kind of like bothering me that like it's not the right. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? Okay, I want to put it to the right scale. So what I'm going to do, a little trick. I'm going to show you a little trick again. Let's upload this STL, import the STL of death again. It was this one here. Binary file read error. Did I load the wrong file? Yep, so this is going to be like the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import, like this was just a test, but it's not the right size. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to insert, boom. All right, so this is the right size here. What I'll do is I will actually activate this gizmo here. I will click on this button so that like anything that I do on the gizmo happens on all the subtools at the same time. So if I scale like right now, or if I move, it might be hard to see, but like it's moving the head, but it's also moving. Like it's also moving the little mesh here. What I will do is I will actually, right now I'm on the subtool of the head of death's head. I'm actually going to mask everything. And when I use the gizmo to say apply this function on all subtools, it still acknowledges that my subtool is masked, so it will not make the modification on this one that I have selected, but all the others. So you see, if I scale, oops, it scales everything but death's head. Yeah, it feels about right. So you see, like this pretty much like puts it to the like somewhat of the same scale. Normally, I would have scaled characters in T-pose one beside each other to really see like their real height and stuff. But that's the next best thing for the moment. All right. So we have our little guy, he's scaled, I can make him disappear. So now I know that like my entire project here is scaled at the right scale. This little cube here will not be useful anymore because I did not scale it with the rest. But all the rest is good to go. All right, so our scale is good. This is our reference here. Now I am going to be able to do the Boolean. Let's save. I'm just gonna call it scaled as a reminder. And once again, I could have used like keep like iterations of the file and stuff, but I'm pretty confident with what I'm doing, so I'm good with that. All right, so now let's just make Boolean. Let's delete this. All right, make Boolean mesh. It says that it has some errors. We'll see. It gave me 4 files. This, and this. Let's check them one at a time. So this is all Boolean together. Let's do auto group. Control Shift. No, everything was fine with this one. This one here, auto group. No disconnected mesh, that's good. This one, auto group. Well, there's just those two meshes, which I will put in different subtools. And now the big boss is going to be this. Auto group, Control Shift. Oh, no, everything was fine. The hollowing is still there. There we go. Oh yeah, there's one thing that I do sometimes that I did not do on this one, is I like to have also a hole at the other end. Yeah, I'll do that, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll actually grab the square for the ponytail. Come on. And I'll actually drag it until it reaches the so you can see now it's actually like reaching the hollowed part inside. You can see it here. I could also do that for the ear parts here. It's just to make sure things are like aired out. It's not really a big deal, but it doesn't cost much. And I mean, like every manufacturer have their like own ways of working and such. They might not ask you to do this, but I don't know. I kind of like started doing that all the time, and I think it's fine. All right, good. And now we are good for reals, for realsies. Save the file again. Make Boolean again. Thanks for the follow. Now I put them in order of importance. All right. And we're ready to export. So now what's going to be this size here? Like we're going to print in millimeters. So this guy here was 51 units. So I'm going to print at so 75 centimeters high. This is the size I'm going to want him to print at. So Z plugin, and in here you're gonna click on millimeters, update size, and you're gonna take the one that has the 75 in height. Oh, actually no, it's just these are the units for just the current subtool. But it's fine because if you tell him like this scale metric, it applies it on all the other ones as well. So we're good. So now that it knows the right scale metric here, you can actually click export STL, Mika print 01. Save. And now it says like, oh, well, you have many subtools. Do you want all of them to be exported? And I want yes, and just name them randomly like this. And now let's open Formlab. Preform, I mean, sorry. This is a great way to preview the print. Yeah, I agree. Your Marco just want to say thanks for showing this. Hey, no problem. Very educational. Not only did you show it, but you're walking us through it. Absolutely. What's the shortcut for transparent mesh? Oh, well, I mean, I changed all my shortcuts, so I don't know. Sorry. All right, so those are my kind of configuration. Form 2 with V4 resin gray. I'm going to print in medium. I always print in medium, except if I print a small miniature, I'm going to print in high. All right, so open. Print proto, yes, there we go. So I'm going to open all of them at the same time. Repair. I always repair when I import in Preform. Even if I fix mesh or do anything in ZBrush, it always has like problems and stuff. Because yeah, you could have like used like fix mesh in ZBrush to kind of like fix the mesh, but it doesn't really. You don't really need that with Preform. All right. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to check the state of my heat map. Actually, you know what? I'll just skip that. Normally, you just check the heat map of your casing to see if it's a. What's the part that's like on your Formlab that's been used the most? But like, I'm just gonna check that later. Just remember to do it yourself. All right. So what are the problems right now? Show minima, show cup, printability error. All right. Thanks for the follow. All right. So let's angle everything correctly. So the head, I angled it like something like this. All right, and I wanted it a bit diagonal. This piece here is going to be, I'm going to want the supports on the bottom. And also it's sometimes something to take in consideration is that like the length of an object should always be like from wiper side to the other side if printing with Formlab at least, because the tension is in that direction. And if you print with the length on the other side, sometimes you can end up like having a print fail because it's going to skew your mesh. So yeah. This one is going to be like a pretty unorthodox because I want at least support on top of the mesh, so I'm actually going to keep it like this. It's going to create a bunch of support at the bottom here, but yeah, it's going to require some cleanup for sure. And I don't think that like rotating is going to help in any way. Whatever, let's just keep it like this. So we're good with this one, we're good with this one. And for the angle, I'm going to want the inside part to aim at the bottom. Have some diagonal. And of course, the length going from wiper side to wiper side. Like this. Small piece. the inside part at the bottom, like this. The length, wiper side from the other opposite side. Thanks for the follow. Then the back part, like this. All right. I think it goes without saying that, like, I'm not like a master at printing also, so take some, leave some. All right. So like I said, if I would have checked my heat map to know like what's the zone that are the less affected, I would have chosen where I place everything, but I'm actually going to need to check the heat map later. Because I need to log in somewhere and stuff, and it's a pain. For the moment, let's save this. All right, and let's go in. Automatically generate supports. From experience, I like to use a density of 0.7. I find it's good enough. 0.7 millimeters. I was told to be careful because under 0.4 millimeters, it's very feeble. So I'm going to go at 0.40. 0.42. Yes, internal supports. RAF label, sure. Label my RAF. Auto generate. Take your time. All right. Good. So this is it. I'm going to let it some time to calculate. So according to him, it's printable as it is. There is no overlap, no nothing. Ooh, it did add a lot of supports under the chin. I don't know that I need those supports. Like I could pivot the mesh more backwards to avoid, but I can also see what happens if I actually manually remove these. I don't know, maybe it's going to create minimas, like overhangs. Like right now it says that it actually is concerned about like the printability of this part here, but I don't know. I want to see that if there's minimas really. Yeah, it does create minimas. Okay, see, 1, 2, 3. Huh. So you know what? Let's rotate it even more. Still, I think it's still going to create the minimas and stuff. Huh. So it'll generate to see. Like there might not be a perfect solution for that. Like I might need to print it this way. And then I'm going to rely on cleaning it correctly afterwards. Thanks for the follow. So you see, I got much less supports here. I probably got those 2 supports here because of the minimas that I have, which I won't fight against it. I'll just leave it there, and I'll just have to clean like the supports here. So yeah, fuck it. And those are also for minimas, I'm sure. The back here is going to be riddled with And those supports to remove. But yeah, it's going, like I said, it's going to be like a pre-processed job. So getting the old X-Acto out, sandpaper, cleaning that up, it's going to be fine. The hair here is, of course, going to be a mess. Here it is, like there's this little like red part here, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. It feels like they could have a support here, that's what it's saying, but such a small piece, and it's going to be fine. You see here, I don't think I need to add necessarily like a support there either. And those little pieces here are good as well. These ones are like kind of like hanging. You see, these I find they could warp if I don't add supports. So like for these two, I'm actually going to add supports. You know what? Maybe I'm going to add a support a bit on like all of them. See if I add something here, are you going to be happier? I see. Instantly happy. Thanks. I just needed that. Well, you know what? It was my pledge. So this part is not even going to be visible, so you know what? Make it 3 supports. I feel generous tonight. 4. Oh my god. Did my software just crash? Okay. I don't know what happened right there. And just to make sure, like I'm just adding support just to make sure that like it doesn't warp. It's such a small piece. I fear it could actually like warp easily. So like with those support, it's probably going to help just to make it more solid. And let's also check the print layers for fun. Normally the print layers, you would check them to make sure there's not like a cup or some like overhang pieces. So like the smaller ones, they're not going to have any issues. I can go pretty fast with the slider and I can see that there's no like overhangs. Or just like some floaty pieces. So you see like there was like a floaty pieces like right here, but like the software cap like knew it and he put like a support on it, so we're fine. Like Preform is a pretty good and simple software, I find. It's just the problem with Preform is that like you cannot like export this in any other format. It's kind of like Apple where like everything is like part of their own like format the moment you use it, and that kind of sucks. I mean, I like Formlab because like the quality is good and everything, but it's expensive and they're being a bit like stingy with like sharing data and stuff. That part I don't like. Oh, you see, there's a little cup here. Oh, wait. There you go. See, there's a little cup here. So it's going to create a little suction cup. Like this here is not a suction cup because like I said, there's a hole. But here, you see, there's no like hole or whatever. But you know what? I think it's so small, it's not going to create a problem. Now the problem is that if I would want to fix this, I would need to go back in ZBrush, re-import and stuff, kind of pain in the ass. This is another advantage with a Cheeto box, is if you can create the hollowing in the software, you can actually also add like holes to fix that kind of stuff. So this is another point in favor of Cheeto box. So it's like, I'm like half and half with Cheeto box and Farm Lab right now. But yeah, I think this is such a small cup that it's not going to create a problem. Oh, there's another cup right here. But you see, the software is not seeing that as a cup. I think it's because it's like too small. But it's true, like this is not going to create enough suction to really cause problem. Or at least like I'm willing to give it a chance. So once again, the reason why I don't hollow everything is because hollowing creates those issues. It sucks. It takes more time to check and blah blah blah. But anyways, yeah. So in terms of minima, though that software is pretty good with minimas and overhangs and such. So you see, oh well, you see, there's like a small one here that he didn't capture. See, right there. So I could add like a manual. I'm actually gonna make it like even smaller, just 4 millimeters. Like I could add something right here to maybe on the other side as well. It probably needs it. So you see, yeah, I could add a support here to help with that. But it was such a small one. Like, see, there's another one right here. It's so small. It's like not even a millimeter. And then it like connects with the thing. So, like in my book, it's not going to create that much of an issue. And if it does, you kind of know where to look. So yeah, I came to kind of like trust that like those small things is not that much of an issue. Everybody needs support. Yes, you are absolutely right. Everybody needs support. If you feel that you need support, you can go to betterhelp.com. I'm not even sponsored. I just say that because like all the podcasts that I listen to these days are all sponsored by those guys. Free publicity. All right, well, you know what? That would probably be enough for me to run a test print. Huh? There we go. As simple as that. So this piece is now ready to print. It's kind of like a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to go through all of this, but the end result is so cool because you get like your figurines and stuff. Huh? It's super small, but is it gonna zoom? Is it gonna focus? Focus. There you go. Death. Isn't that cool? It's pretty cool. Hey, focus. Come here. Come here, baby. Focus on me. Right there. Okay, take your time on the focus. Whatever. I don't care. What's the difference with a test print and a legitimate print? Well, like I would have done things more cleanly. Like for example, like this here. Well, if I would want this as the final product, this could be okay for the final print. I guess that one of the reason. Come on, focus, camera. I guess that one of the reason why I call that a test print. It's because when I print things professionally, I actually ask for a company to print for me and to do the mold and the reproductions and everything. And the my Form Lab, I use it to do like prototypes and stuff like this. So it's yeah, I just always call my stuff test print. Although I did a one of my prints here, as long as I don't break anything. There you go. All right. So like this guy, This guy here was printed with my form lab. He's pretty big. He's actually like pretty much like a 1/5 scale, and yeah, this one's pretty cool. I liked it. It's all divided in like little small pieces because it's not a big printer, right? So it's all like small pieces that are all like glued together afterwards. So yeah, I really like this one. It's kind of like hard to show at the camera right now. I just realized if I do this here, there you go. So this one is pretty cool. I don't even have space in between my Cintiq and the camera to really rotate the piece better than this. But yeah, it's just a little teaser. Like you can see all of my stuff on my ArtStation. I don't have the best camera anyway, but like if you're curious to see this print, you can find it on my ArtStation page. So like if you go at the bottom here on the link, there's my ArtStation page. There's like so many pages, and you can actually like go and check the thing I just showed you, but like in a better quality. And well, I mean, might as well do some publicity. If you go at the bottom, or actually, you know what? I pointed at this link here. The link at the bottom is for my my company, Chaos Masons, and the bottom here is like my links. So if you go here and then you go to my ArtStation, you'll see what I mean. But if you go to the links of my company and you go in our store, you'll find our webpage, and our webpage contains a few cool things that have to do with print or whatever. So Chaos Masons, my outsourcing company, take care of mostly video game assets and that sort of stuff. I like to do collectibles and that sort of stuff as well, but whatever. And if you go to our shop, thanks for the follow. We sell collectibles, tutorials, STLs, some merch also. We have a few collectibles here that we're selling, garage kits, however you want to call them. And we still have a few. And those are actually printed professionally by a company, and then they're shipped to your house. And so yeah, like the print quality is insane. Also, a few prints that are coming. Of course, my Four Horsemen series is coming kind of soon. Actually, I can't wait to be able to show it to people. Also, working on the White Widow. Right now, we're at the stage where it's getting colored, but we're having some issues, and it's very slow, that process here. But at some point, it's going to arrive. I am going to also produce the mantis, the beetle, and the mosquito. I'm just gathering information about like who's interested. So anybody that's interested can click on the want button. You can send me like your name, address, country, zip code, and you're entering the newsletter, and you can keep up to date with the progress of everything. Thanks for the follow, by the way. We got tutorials and such, and we got STL. So for people who want to print their own things, well, you got a bunch here. A bunch of STLs and merch as well. So there you go. This was my little publicity stunt at the end of this run. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for tonight, I guess. Let's see what people are saying. How long will this take to print? It was written. That's about 8 hours to print this. Here. 32 milliliters. Badass. Well, neat. Thanks. I was on it the whole time. So epic. Thanks for sharing your work. Hey, no problem. It's my pleasure. I added you today. I mean, you did accept my request. Thanks for that, by the way. No problem. How would someone interested in applying to Chaos Mason? So, well, back to my little, back to my website here. You just click on Contact Us, and you can fill a form and an email. And this is how we take applications for people that want to work for us. So there you go. So yeah, I'm gonna call that officially done for tonight. So this was my little tutorial on how to do 3D print. And yep, I hope you had a lot of fun, because that's what I want to do. I want people to have fun on my stream. Yeah, awesome. Anyways, joke aside, I hope you learned a few things. This is really like my little process here. I'm not saying that it's like that's how everything should do, but this is the way that like I get the most control out of preparing for print, and I'm pretty happy with the results.